Good morning. Today I will discuss with the question answer section of elements, compounds and mixtures according to ICSE syllabus class 7. Okay. So first I start with state the four differences between compounds and mixtures. Compounds, we know it's a pure substance and mixture is an impure substance. Compounds are always homogeneous, whereas mixtures, they may be homogeneous or heterogeneous. Compounds have a fixed composition of the constituents, whereas mixtures do not have a fixed composition of the constituents. Then compounds can be separated only by complex chemical processes, whereas mixtures can be separated by simple physical methods. Okay. Now, what is a pure substance and what are the characteristic properties of a pure substance, and why do we need them? Now, what is a pure substance? A pure substance is one that cannot be split into simpler substances by a physical means, such as filtration, sublimation or distillation. So, pure substance is a substance which cannot be split into simpler substances by any physical means. Okay. Now, pure substances have the characteristics that they have a definite composition. They have definite set of properties like boiling point, melting point, density, etc. All pure substances are homogeneous. They cannot be broken further into more simpler substances by any physical means, and they have characteristic taste, color or odor that is totally different from its constituent elements. Now, why do we need a pure substance? We need a pure substance to measure accurate properties of the substance, carry out chemical reactions without side effects of impurities, use drugs for medical use without interference from impurities, then get what you pay for, such as gold or silver. So, if you want to get gold or silver, they should be in pure form. So, to get pure substances, the accuracy should be maintained. To measure the accurate properties of the substance, we need a pure substance. To carry out a chemical reaction, without side effects of the impurities, if we are undergoing a chemical reactions, if we are carrying out a chemical reaction, then what happens if we use an impure substance? The impurities can hamper to that chemical reaction. So for that case we need a pure substance to carry out the chemical reaction. Then use of drugs. If a drug contains impurities, then what happens? The purpose of the drug will not solve the problem. So for that reason, the drugs should be of pure substance. Then the gold and silver which we are paying for, they should be of pure substances. Give two examples for each of the following: solid mixture, solid liquid mixture and liquid mixture. So solid mixture like sand and sugar. Then second one example is brass, that is copper and zinc. Then solid liquid mixture, charcoal and water and sugar and water. Okay. Then liquid mixture, oil and water or alcohol and water. Then define evaporation. Evaporation is a process of converting a liquid into vapor state either by exposing it to air or by heating. So what's an evaporation? It's a process of converting a liquid into vapor either by exposing it into the air or by heating. Then filtration. Filtration is a process of separating insoluble solid particles from a liquid by allowing it to pass through a filter paper. Is called filtration. So it can be filter paper or it can be filter, you can say. So through a filter, and then it separates the insoluble solid particles from a liquid. Then sublimation. Sublimation is a process in which solid changes directly into vapor on heating. Okay. Then certain substances, they sublime without heating also, because if they are exposed to air only, they sublime. Then distillation, methods of getting, it's a method of getting a pure liquid from a solution by evaporating and then condensing the vapors. So it is a method of getting a pure liquid from a solution by evaporating and then condensing the vapors. Then miscible liquids, liquids which are soluble in another. Then immiscible liquids, liquids which are not soluble in water, in another. That is oil and water. The oil is not soluble in water. So oil and water are immiscible liquids. Again, miscible liquids, alcohol and water, they are both soluble in water. So they are miscible liquids. Name the processes by which the components of the following mixtures can be separated. Then iron and sulfur, they can be separated by magnetic separation. Ammonium chloride and sand, they can be separated by sublimation. Common salt from seawater, evaporation is the process. Chaff and grain, winnowing is the process of separation. Water and mustard oil, by separating funnel, they can be separated. Sugar and water by distillation. Then cream from milk, that is centrifugation. How will you separate a mixture of common salt, chalk and powdered camphor? Explain. First, heat the mixture. First we heat the mixture, then camphor sublimes, that is separated from the mixture, and it collects on the cooler parts of the on the funnel which has been placed on the dish on which the mixture is kept. So from there we can get the camphor back. Then rest of the mixture is dissolved in water. Common salt, which gets dissolved in water, becomes soluble, dissolves there. Then by filtration we get the chalk powder as residue, and filtrate is the soil solution. Then we evaporate the solution, we get the salt. Thus all the components are separated. Now, how is distillation more advantageous than evaporation? The advantage of distillation is that both the components of the solid and liquid mixture are obtained, whereas in evaporation only solid is absent. The liquid gets evaporated, is lost as vapor. But in distillation we get both the solid and the liquid. Okay. Next, what is chromatography? Chromatography is a process of separating different dissolved constituents of the mixture by their adsorption on appropriate material. Okay, it's a process of separating different dissolved constituents of a mixture by their adsorption on appropriate material. Why is it named so? Because earlier it was used to separate mixtures containing colored components only, but these days this technique is applied to colorless substances also. Okay, that's why it is named as chromatography. Chromato means colored components. Now, advantages. What are the advantages of chromatography? A very small quantity of the substance can be separated. Components with very similar physical and chemical properties can be separated, and it identifies the different constituents of a mixture. Then, name the simplest type of chromatography, that's the paper chromatography. On what principle is the method based? On the principle of adsorption. What is meant by stationary phase and mobile phase in chromatography? Stationary phase is the adsorbent and mobile phase is the solution. Okay. Now, on what principle are the following methods of separation based? Give one example of the mixture for each of the methods mentioned in which they are used. Like sublimation. Sublimation depends on the principle that solids having a weak intermolecular force, hence a high vapor pressure, which the solids which have weak intermolecular force, they have a higher vapor pressure which converts directly into vapor without melting. That is the principle on which sublimation depends. Now, the example is mixture of sand and iodine. Next is filtration. Filtration depends on the principle that filtration surface area. Then the resistance offered by the filter cake, that is the residue. Resistance offered by the residue. The filtrate viscosity, how viscous is the filtrate, how dense is the filtrate. The resistance of the flow of the filtration increase. Resistance to flow of filtration increase. Okay, so what happens in filtration? The filtration surface area, how much is the surface area through which the filtration is passed, the filtrate is passing through. Then the residue which remains, how much resistance it is offering. Then how much dense is the filtrate, and the resistance to flow of filtration increase, how much the filtration is increasing. Okay, then the example is mixture of chalk and water. Then sedimentation and decantation. Sedimentation is heavy particles settle faster in a medium, so the solid components which is insoluble in the mixture settles down due to gravity. Okay, I'll discuss this from this in the next video. I stop here. I'll continue in the next video this principle on which the method of separation is based. Okay. And if you have any doubt, please write in the comment box. And if you like the video, press the like button. And if you are a new subscriber, if you are a new viewer to my channel, or if you have not subscribed yet, please press the subscribe button so that you can get the notification of my next video. Thank you.